Time is like a river. You cannot touch the same water twice, because the flow that has passed will never pass again. Listen. Can you hear the river? Not just the water that winds through valleys and beneath the trees, but the deeper river, silent, invisible, yet constant. The river of time, ever-flowing, ever-changing. A force that does not wait, but also does not hurry. In the heart of Africa, beneath the vast skies and beside ancient trees, time has always been more than hours and minutes. Time is rhythm. Time is breath. Time is a living memory. In these lands, stories are not written in ink. They are passed from mouth to mouth, from elder to child, from firelight to dream. The people here do not merely tell time, they live it, they carry it. And in their proverbs, time reveals its truest face. Wisdom is like a baobab tree. No one individual can embrace it. Time, in many African traditions, is not a straight line. It is a spiral, a circle with no end, a rhythm that echoes backward as it moves forward. Among the Akan people of Ghana, time is seen through two lenses. The past is Nsema, the known, the remembered, the visible. The future is Ekyer, the unknown, the unfolding, the hidden. Unlike Western thought that places the future ahead and the past behind, the Akan walk backward into the future, because what lies behind is seen, and what lies ahead is shrouded. This way of thinking teaches that we must know what is behind us in order to move forward. Time without memory is blindness. The river must know its source to understand its journey. In a quiet village near Lake Kyoga in Uganda, there lived an old woman named Nabiria. The people called her the River Woman. Each morning she walked to the water's edge. She would sit on a rock, wrap her scarf tighter, and whisper into the current. A child once asked her what she was saying. Nabiria smiled and answered, "I remind the river who it is, so it never forgets where it flows from." Her whispers were not mad, they were sacred. Names, stories, tears, and laughter passed into the water like incense to the ancestors. She spoke of births and deaths, of harvests and famines, of love found and lost beneath the moonlight. Each whisper was a stitch in the fabric of time. Wisdom does not come overnight. When the roots of a tree begin to decay, it spreads death to the branches. A single bracelet does not jingle. These proverbs are more than words. They are clocks of the soul. They measure experience, not seconds. In a place where few wear watches and fewer still mark time by the hour, these sayings become our sundials, our guideposts, our quiet reminders. Time, in this sense, is not how quickly we move. It is how deeply we understand. In Mali, the griots are the timekeepers. They are the ones who remember when no one else can. They are the voice of history, wrapped in music, shaped by rhythm. A griot does not begin his tale quickly. He waits for the drum. The drum must speak first. Then he begins, slowly, carefully, respectfully. First, he honors the ancestors, then their ancestors, then the land, then the sky. Only then can the story begin. Every word is placed like a stone on a path. There is no rushing, for to hurry a story is to insult time itself. To many African cultures, rushing time is a form of disrespect. One must walk with time, not against it, for time is an elder, and elders deserve silence before speech. In Zulu belief, life is a great circle. The newborn is not entering the world for the first time. The spirit has been here before, and it will come again. Death is not the end. It is a return, a homecoming. This is why children are often named after ancestors, not as symbols of memory, but as living proof that the past breathes through the present. The circle turns, and with each turn, the spirit continues. Time does not pass, they say. It returns. So the ceremonies repeat with the seasons. The dances rise again with the moon. The drums echo what was played 1,000 nights ago. Everything is returning. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is lost. Close your eyes. Breathe. Feel the rhythm in your chest. That is your drum. That is your timekeeper. Now reflect. What moments have you rushed through? What memories have you pushed aside? What lessons lie behind you, waiting to be noticed? Listen, not to sound, but to silence. There is a proverb waiting inside that silence. A voice not spoken, but felt. Time, like a river, flows on, but wisdom, like a stone in the stream, remains. We have only begun our journey. There are more stories to uncover, more rhythms to feel, more ancestors to hear. Let us continue to the next chapter, where the ancestors are not shadows, but the very keepers of time. When an old man dies, a library burns to the ground. The past is not behind us, it lives inside us, in our bones, our songs, our memories, and our names. In many African traditions, the ancestors are not gone. They are present. They walk with us, listen when we speak, and measure our actions in silence. They are the timekeepers of the spirit, the witnesses of our becoming. In a village in northern Senegal, a boy named Demba was taken to meet his great-grandmother on his 12th birthday. She had lost her sight, but not her mind. Her fingers, brittle like dry sugarcane, reached out and traced his face. "You have your father's brow," she said, "but your grandfather's stillness." She smiled without seeing and asked, "Do you remember your name?" He nodded. "Demba." "No," she said gently. "That is the name they gave your body. I am asking if you remember the name your soul carries." There was a pause. He did not know what to say, but she did not expect an answer. She began to speak, not to him, but to the ancestors gathered in that small, mud-walled room. She told them that Demba had returned, and they must watch him, guide him, and remind him of the promises he made before his birth. In that moment, time bent. The boy was no longer 12. He was eternal. In African cosmology, time is not only measured by days and seasons, it is also measured by names, stories, and rituals. To know your lineage is to know your place in time. The Shona people of Zimbabwe believe that the living, the unborn, and the dead exist on one single timeline. The word Mzulu means elephant, and to be named after an ancestor is to carry the memory of their soul. When a baby cries in its sleep, the elders may say, "It is the ancestors speaking to the child." When a person dreams of fire or water, they consult the elders who say, "The ancestors are sending a message. They are not separate from us. They are us, just in another form of time. The world is not ours. It is a bridge we must cross." In Ethiopia, the old ones say that the dead do not leave. They simply wait in the spaces between dusk and dawn. They linger in the scent of the coffee ceremony, in the steam rising from roasted grains, in the stories whispered around the fire. To drink coffee is to remember. To remember is to give the ancestors time. Time, then, is not hours ticking by. Time is the act of continuing what was begun before us. There was a griot named Bako in Mali. He carried no scrolls, no paper, no pen, but he carried hundreds of years in his voice. He could name 20 generations of his people, recite their deeds, their wars, their trades, their loves. He had memorized not just names, but moments. Moments that shaped the soil, the rivers, the air. One day, a traveler asked him, "Why do you remember so much?" Bako answered, "If I forget them, they disappear. If they disappear, I am no longer Bako. I am just a body. To forget is to become lost in time. Those who are dead are never gone. They are in the shadows." Among the Dagara people of Burkina Faso, it is believed that the ancestors live in the shadows, not as ghosts, but as protectors. They do not interfere with life unless called upon. but when honored, they guide with fierce love. An elder once said, "The reason you cannot see the path ahead is because you have not bowed to the ones who walked it before you." To acknowledge the ancestors is to open the door of time. To forget them is to walk blind into the future. Ceremonies mark time in Africa, but these are not celebrations of a date. They are conversations with the unseen. In Yoruba culture, the Egungun festival is held for the ancestral spirits. Men dressed in layered cloth spin and dance in the streets, believed to be possessed by the spirits of the dead. The air thickens, time folds. The past, the present, and the future dance together. A child watches the masked figure whirl and says, "Is that my grandfather?" The elder nods. He has come to remind us of who we are. Through the dance, through the drum, the ancestors speak. If you do not know where you are going, look at where you come from. This proverb holds the key to time, because in African wisdom, direction is not forward or backward, it is ancestral. To find your future, you must ask your past. This is why names are sacred. A name is not just a sound, it is a place in the timeline, a promise carried forward, a seed planted in the soul. In Rwanda, before planting seeds, elders pour water on the soil and whisper the names of those who died. They say, "May this earth remember their footsteps." Then the seeds are placed, not just in ground, but in memory. The harvest is not just food, it is time, ripened. A grandmother in Botswana once told her granddaughter, "Child, when you sing, sing with your chest. Let the dead hear you." She was not being poetic. She meant it. Because in many African traditions, the voice travels not just across distance, but across time. A song is not just sound, it is a bridge between generations. To sit by the fire at night and hear an old man tell a story is to enter another time. His pauses, his voice, the crackle of the flames, all of it becomes a clock, not of seconds, but of significance. As long as he speaks, the ancestors are near, and when the story ends and silence returns, time rests, not ends, rests. When an old man dies, a library burns to the ground. But when a story is told, that fire is rekindled, and in that light, time is made whole again. Haste and hurry can only bear children with many regrets. In the stillness of dawn, before the rooster crows, before the fires are lit, there is a moment the elders call sacred. It is the time when the world is most quiet, and in that silence, time speaks. Across the African continent, waiting is not seen as a pause, it is a process. To wait is to prepare. To be still is to be wise. Impatience is considered a form of blindness, because one who runs ahead of time often misses its gifts. The child who asks questions does not become a fool. A woman in eastern Nigeria once sat at the edge of a village market with a pot beside her. People passed, some buying, some selling, some rushing by. But she just sat, waiting. When a man asked why she hadn't begun selling, she said, "The sun hasn't spoken yet." He didn't understand. She smiled. When the sun hits this part of the earth, the hunger of the people will open. If I open my pot too soon, they won't taste what I've made. They will only fill their stomachs. But if I wait, they will remember. And so she waited. Waiting was not laziness. It was knowing the moment when things matter. In African philosophy, there is no shame in waiting. A seed waits beneath the soil. A lion waits before it leaps. A drum waits for the dancer's foot. Time is not a ladder to climb. It is a rhythm to feel. Even the best cooking pot will not produce food. Among the Ndebele of South Africa, there is a proverb, "Even the best cooking pot will not produce food." It means no matter how skilled or ready you are, some things must take their time. Fire must heat, water must boil, Hunger must ripen. There is a kind of arrogance in modern timekeeping, the belief that everything must be fast, now, instant. But the earth does not spin faster because we are impatient. The wisdom of the ancestors says, let the yam cook through. Only then will it be sweet. In a small community outside Mbale, Uganda, there is a tree called Mugoma. Beneath it, the elders gather to resolve disputes. But they never speak immediately. For the first hour, they sit in silence. Not a word, just breathing, listening. The younger ones shift, confused. They whisper, when will the talking begin? But the elders know, if you begin speaking before the dust settles, the truth will not rise. To wait is to let truth appear on its own. The night has ears. In Ghana, there is an old belief that one should not speak certain thoughts at night, for the night has ears. In other words, silence is not empty. It is full. Time listens. The universe hears what we say when we least think it matters. In this worldview, even our silence counts. Even our waiting leaves footprints. There is a ritual in parts of Kenya, among the Kikuyu, where rainmakers do not dance immediately for the sky. First, they watch the clouds. Then they offer tobacco to the wind. Then they sit and wait, sometimes for a day, sometimes for 5. Only when the wind changes direction and the first ant crawls from the soil do they begin the chant. Because rain does not come when we are ready. It comes when the earth is ready. To wait is to align yourself with the earth's own tempo. A chick that will grow into a cock is spotted the very day it hatches. This proverb reminds us that growth takes time. The signs are there from the beginning. Waiting is not inaction. It is watching closely. It is trusting that what is meant to become will become. The modern world tells us that waiting is weakness, and silence is emptiness, and patience is passive. This is not the teaching of the ancestors. To them, the one who waits is the one who sees the furthest, because in silence you hear what haste drowns out. In the Sahel region, where the land stretches dry and wide, a shepherd once told his son, the goats that run to the grass first are not always the fattest. Sometimes the ones that stay behind find the sweetest shoots. The son asked, but how will I know when it's time to move? The father said, the dust will rise in a certain way. The birds will fly differently. The air will hold its breath. Will I see it? The boy asked. You will feel it, the father replied. Do not rush the funeral. Even the dead must take their time to leave. When someone dies in rural Angola, the burial does not happen the next day. It is not just about mourning. It is about letting the soul complete its journey. The family waits for signs, a dream, a sound, a message from the spirit world. Only then do they proceed. To wait is to show respect. To wait is to make space for the unseen. Wisdom is like fire. People take it from others. In the moments of waiting, wisdom is passed, not shouted, not rushed, but offered gently, like fire from one stick to another. In northern Tanzania, elders say nothing to young warriors before their first hunt. They simply walk with them in silence. Hours may pass. Then only when the wind shifts and the rustle of leaves carries a message, the elder will point with his chin. There, a sign. The waiting has revealed something, and the boy becomes a man, not because he acted, but because he knew when not to. There is a rhythm to all things, the rain that waits behind the clouds, the child that waits to speak, the fruit that waits to ripen. Time does not shout, time whispers. Only the quiet can hear it. A man who uses force is afraid of waiting. The ancestors teach that patience is not weakness, it is strength. The strength to listen, the strength to be still, the strength to believe that what is meant for you will come in time. In the silence of waiting, wisdom grows. In the space between now and later, something beautiful forms. Like a sculptor removing stone, like a seed breaking in darkness, like a drum waiting for the dancer's foot. Wait, listen, time is speaking. The earth is not ours, we belong to the earth. In the soft hush of dawn, when the dew still rests gently on the grass, and the earth breathes a little slower, time moves differently. In many African traditions, time is not a machine to be controlled. It is not a schedule, not a deadline, not a countdown. Time is organic. It breathes with the soil, shifts with the rain, and turns with the seasons. The earth does not know of clocks. It knows only rhythm. And so too must we, if we are to understand true time. The earth is a mother who never forgets her children. In West Africa, the farmers speak to the soil before they touch it. Not as ritual, but as relationship. Before the first hoe strikes the ground, an offering is made. Water, words, silence. They say, "Let this land remember our footprints. Let it recognize our hunger. Let it carry our promise." Because time, in the eyes of the ancestors, begins not with sunrise, but with intention. In the villages of the Bamileke people of Cameroon, a farmer's calendar is not made of pages. It is made of signs. The way the ants travel, the way the leaves fold after rainfall, the cry of a certain bird at a certain time. These are not accidents, they are messages. The earth is always speaking, time is always unfolding, but only those who live close to the ground can hear. Even the best farmer cannot make the sun rise sooner. In Kenya, when the maize grows tall and yellow, the elders say it is not because of human effort alone. It is because the land agreed. Time and the earth made a covenant, and when the rains delay, they do not shout at the clouds. They wait, they watch, they plant something else. This is the wisdom of the earth's time. To adapt is to survive. To observe is to understand. To respect time is to live in harmony. A healer among the Ndebele people once said, "Time is written in the leaves. Every leaf that falls is part of a story. The dry ones tell us when the dry season is near. The green ones sing of renewal. The red ones whisper of change. Children are taught not just to play among the trees, but to read them. Time speaks through the cracking bark, through the bending of branches, through the trembling of petals in wind. This is not superstition. It is literacy of the land. You cannot teach the river to flow backwards. There is a river in the Congo that floods every 7 years with unusual force. The people who live near it do not fear it. They know it will come. It always does. They have learned its rhythm. They build their lives around it. And when it arrives, they say, the river is reminding us of who it is. So too, time reminds us, through the earth's movements, its patience, and its storms, that it will not be commanded. In Mozambique, there is a belief that the earth has a heartbeat. A grandmother there once told her grandchild, "Put your ear to the ground. Can you hear it?" The child listened. She said, "That is time. It moves slowly, but it never stops." Time, then, is not something we use. It is something we join. Like a drumbeat, like a tide, like a growing root. The tree does not rush its shade. When a tree is planted in many African cultures, there is a celebration, not just for the tree, but for the future, for the shade it will give long after the planter is gone. It is a gift given across time, planted in hope, watered in faith, harvested in legacy. The tree teaches us that true time lives not in the now, but in the after, the long view, the patient vision, the quiet offering. In the plains of southern Sudan, time is kept by fire. Each family maintains a sacred fire at the center of their homestead. When a baby is born, a stick is added. When someone dies, a stick is removed. The fire burns slowly, always. It is not measured by seconds, but by stories. This fire is time, this flame is memory, and the ashes, they are proof that something once lived. Rain does not fall on one roof alone. When time brings trouble, the ancestors remind us that we are not alone. The storms that come are not punishments, but patterns. They pass through all lives, all lands. What matters is how we respond. Do we build higher fences, or do we gather together? The earth teaches us to move in community, to plant in clusters, to harvest in chorus, to grieve together and dance together again. In northern Ghana, there is a festival called Bugum, the Fire Festival. It marks a time of renewal. People carry torches through the village, retracing the steps of ancestors who once searched for a lost child in the dark. The flames move as one. People run, they shout, they remember. They are not merely reenacting history, they are reliving it, burning it into the present, lighting the path forward. Because to walk the earth with wisdom, one must walk with those who walked before. Wisdom is like a garden. If it is not cultivated, it cannot be harvested. The time of the earth is not urgent. It is deliberate, slow, generous. But it asks something of us. It asks for patience, for listening, for planting seeds we may never see bear fruit. This is time not as countdown, but as continuity. Beneath your feet, the earth is not still. It breathes, it shifts, it remembers. To walk gently is to honor its memory. To pause before planting is to respect its clock. To dance upon it is to thank it for its time. A river does not forget its source, and we, the children of the earth, must not forget ours. We were born into its time, carried in its arms, fed by its rhythms. Let us return, then, not to the past, but to the pattern, to the heartbeat of the ground, to the quiet clock beneath our souls, to the eternal tempo of the earth. Subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and don't forget to turn on the notifications on.